Why, hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. We have returned back to the city of Bay Ridge. However, for anyone that is eagle-eyed, this is not Bay Ridge. It is a new city, based off of the same map, but based off of the same principles of the past or previous Bay Ridge. This is more of a reboot to the city. A more, I can't say modernized because I just built that, but a more modernized build of Bay Ridge. Everything will be different, from the grid, the highways, the train layouts, but it'll be partially similar. Just it'll look more new with the newer techniques that I've learned when playing Cities 2 for the time that I've been since playing Bay Ridge, basically. Some things will be kept the same, some things won't. Namely, certain roads are the same, for instance, the Golden Gate Bridge. However, the exits or interchange ramps are drastically different, as you can see coming up on this image right here or video. This is an inspiration to the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. That being aside, this is a new city. We'll be beginning to be touring the place, and we'll start by building a little custom or detailing a custom train station. And I'll go over some past train stations that I've been doing. I've been doing this mostly on stream, but also on my off time as well. So, with that being said, let's get into it. So, where should we begin? We can start with the downtown. Also, I should mention, during this time of recording, both French and German packs have been released. So I've been playing with them and plopping them around in different places and getting to know them a little bit better about how they look and where they should be placed. I was kind of making a little French district in the corner by the shore line over here. And the German one was by this terminal that I have, an asset in the workshop. I don't remember what it's called specifically, but all I know is that it's a terminus asset. It comes in 5 different sets, one end terminal and one pass-through, but different road layouts. But it works pretty well over here with this area. The college buildings, the different schools as well, having like a little community in one spot, fits the area quite nicely. We're also working on the trains and the different expanse of the trains. Compared to the last city, the trains were a little bit sporadic. They were very integrated into one. There are 7 lines on a single corridor in downtown that all went to the yard, which was a bit much, I must say. So what I had done was divide them. Having divided the lines, also this is an example of the train station that we're going to make today. I'll show you how to get that until later. But having them divided, it makes it much easier to work with and to see just visually. So on this line, there will be 4 trains total passing on this track, 2 express, 2 local. And on this line, it's not decided yet. They are divided, but they do merge once they get underground. And this is probably my favorite spot. You can see there are different heights being encased over here as they get underground, which I can't see in this view, but over here. They'll be elevated and descended and joined into a dual station platform, where they'll then go forward into the outside land. Since the one thing that I've done very differently with this map was add terrain. The previous map had no sort of hills on it, so I just said, I'm gonna make some hills, give it some topography, make it feel bumpy, give it some depth to the city, so that way there's a little borders around. So like this road, for instance, here is the final road before the hilltops happen, and the only thing that goes through here is the highway, which is a nice little touch. Speaking of highway, this highway is different now. It only has 2 exits located on each side, with a little service road on the other side, compared to the 3 long exits that span all the way across to get into the neighboring city that was passed down here on this island. Our power is located in a different spot as well, which I find to be much better compared to the last one. The last one was located over here, so this one being closer, it gives a nice touch. And our different train yards are also separated. So we have our little central yard, only for our numbered trains, by the way. I should mention that. The trains are numbered 1, 2, 3, A, B. For now, there will be more, again. I also implemented a night schedule for trains. So 1 and 2. My express train is 1, my local train is 2. At night, there is no express, it's just all local. My trains will run through the central division of downtown or through the entire city. And the last stop for the local trains will be right here. This is the station that we'll be decorating, by the way. Speaking of 1N, there's one here, surprisingly. Which shouldn't be a thing yet. This thing should be returning to the yard or at least changing colors into the red line. But yes, we'll be decorating here. As you can see, this is the train line. This is our express line. It's on the outside compared to the inside. And our local lines are in the middle because this is where they short turn with a little non-functioning yard in the back. And our green line, which is the true express line, will go all the way across here and meet into the other islands, similar to the last city. The red line will continue down further. Our express line will continue down further. But since there is no express with this local train, this orange train, this train will make every stop. So you have to transfer through this station. They cross paths. Perfect example. They cross paths from central to side just to give it easier access without having the trains to cross each other to allow for easy transition. And here's some other examples of little custom stations that we make. Have little chairs, have little buildings, but what I want to focus on more are stairs, bridges, invisible paths that you can place. Oh my goodness. That you can place to allow these people to cross in different areas. You'll see this more than once alongside this path. We'll see it here. More stairs, invisible path for them to walk up. Again, another one placed further down the line. A little wooden path. They may not walk into it as nice as I would look, but it's a good step, a good first step. As well as something like this. You could also put an in-ground station to make them walk underneath the platform and come out through the other side using the across the line mod that I used earlier in Bay Ridge City. And again, this is our yard. It feeds this entire numbered system. For now, there are 2 yards placed in here, a medium subway depot and a subway yard. If you have Tygon's train pack, I'm not sure if the exact mod is called that, but he has a specific pack that gives you multiple different yards, multiple different trains of varying sizes, and especially cargo trains. That's where you can get the incredibly long 50 cargo train set, which is great, by the way, I must say. But the train continues down. The 4th line continues through here. It is a future provision or a spur route that goes down south. This train is also local. So from here, the 2 express trains merge. And what I've done differently here compared to last city in Bay Ridge, I made a little trench for the train a little bit late into the city. So I said, I want to do that again, but make it more prominent throughout the entire city. So that's what I've done. I've literally made this entirely prominent thing throughout the entirety of the city. It's a reminiscence to the B&Q train in Brooklyn, where the train would run through a small trench the entire way down through the corridor of Brooklyn, and having a small little main station over here. This is the terminal station since it's located right next to the terminal. And from there it goes completely underground, never to come back outside again. Now let's go back to the numbered trains. The numbered ones. This one remains outside through downtown. I wanted to make it a different change of pace, so this one's gonna sit outside. One of them overlaps with each other, makes the last stop over here. And the yard for this one actually continues underneath the highway and then departs over here. So keeping it kind of similar to the last city. I did like this idea, so I wanted to bring it back. And this yard is actually functional compared to the last city, having another one of these medium subway depots that I didn't have last time when making this city. So little things like that, take advantage of that. Also, the train now continues straight through the station instead of ending at the city, which is great. Some parts do end, but I was more wanting of the trains to pass through. And the highways are different themselves as well. What I have here is the highway splitting up into 2 different branches. I called it I-95 West, the western branch and the eastern branch. I can't really name this one because City Skylines has a weird naming, or I guess I should say pathing tool when it comes to naming roads. it doesn't always follow through. But the east branch goes towards the main city. The west branch goes towards the outer highway that goes to the outside of the city. It's almost like a bypass, this one acts as. And then they merge back together to form the entire Interstate 95 at the end. The east ramp, however, this one passes directly through the city, but also underground within the city. Using Anarchy, it is not difficult, but it's kind of difficult to get the highway to pass as seamlessly as possible, to make a tunnel underground and pass under the entire city, so it kind of widens up, then crosses back in. So it's kind of hidden. But the same thing I've done with the train I've done to the road. I wanted to make it peek through at certain points. Just to give it a nice sense of character, you know? And that's about it. So let's begin the construction of the subway station. I've placed the assets down on the side so we can get a good understanding of how it's placed. I wanted to use the thin stations because the wide ones they take up almost the entire platform. And we're also going to use a small little elevated bridge similar to this station right here. It barely fits the train, but it does it just enough. We're going to use this one to form a path above and bridge down. So with that being said, let's begin. So, to begin, step one, we need some kind of leverage or bridge to span the area similar to this one. So I'm gonna borrow this one because I forgot what it's called. It's an asset that I got from a certain Discord, but I believe there are similar assets in the base game that have bridge pillars or just pillars in general. I'm going to use these to span across just to make an uplift and bring the pedestrians down. Find a way to bring them down. I'm also going to use the stairs at the same place just to get a nice little height, because I believe that a train could fit under this clearance without having me to increase the height. So let's go for around... Let's go for... I could go for the whole span if I wanted a bridge on both sides. That might not be a bad idea. At the same time, I could just have it at a halfway point until the staircase ends. This might be the best option, actually. So let's go for this. I also probably want two of them at the same time. I'll place them both like this. And from probably this one, I might use both just to get access onto this side as well as it's further down. So let's go for two over here. What I want are these smaller stairs that I want to snap with on the platform just to be placed above and place it on the middle portion. And this has to be flipped. That's okay. And place more of these as well. Now this height, this should be enough for the train to pass clearance. So now that actually this train is here, let's use this train as a nice little height. Let's go right around there. Let's drag this back. And just like that, we got our first little step. The same thing, hold Alt with move it and drag it back again. And then just bring it down some. Same with these two staircases as well. We're gonna draw the path afterwards, just because it's easier to work with when you draw the path afterwards. You don't want to draw the path because it's an invisible path. You don't want to draw it. And hold Alt here again. What's this? I might have let go of Alt by accident, but let's see. Drag this back. You know what I should have been doing was just clicking on one and just Alt hiding them all to one place. So from here to here. And they all swip like that. And silly little me forgot to put two of them together. So gotta redo it. Gotta move the other two. Luckily it's a bit easier. With this one we can just hold shift and drag both of them back. Just to make them both equal. Let's do this. And good. And the same for the other side. If there was one thing I would wish that Move It did have was a copy feature, because then I could just click all of these and copy it and drag it over like Cities 1, but that'd be a little bit difficult. So do these again. And spin around. What I will do is make these the same height as you, and make these two the same height as well as you. So drag it across. Swap you around. Let's make this a little bit more centered. There, perfect. Now to make this more realistic, we can get some little pillars as well. So I have these little pillars down here. The train pillar, top number 5, to be not specific, but you can use it if you want to. Place these two down here. Honestly, this one could be After Effects, so let's do this. Place this one, this one. And again, Move It will be your friend for this for every case. I'm gonna drag this up. The problem with this is that sometimes the pillars will have nothing under them. If you go too high, for instance, this one will definitely have nothing underneath it. Or actually, I'm lying. It fits perfect. Let's make sure it's even on both sides. Same with this one. Down here. So it fits. Same with you. This one is a bit wider than the other one, but that's fine. And that'll be my little bridge. Now what I want to do here is get a nice staircase. So in this case, it's wider, so we're going to use the wider staircase on this end and bring it up. The same can be said for this side as well, and also this side over here. Now I don't think I'll have a road set in place for this. I'll probably make the road most likely on stream to continue this neighborhood that I'm working on. This will be my next city, hence why this will be the last stop in a dual station platform. Otherwise, I would have just made another local track alongside here. But let's see. Raise you up. And let's see sideways and bring it down. That'll be a good height. If it does reach the floor, you could always just copy it, put it inside of itself until it matches evenly. A little bit tedious, but it's fine. And from there, you can click and then add or change the heights. And just like that, it touches the floor. It's a simple process, really. Same can be said for the other side. Again, copy, place, bring this back until it fits evenly, nice and flush. And that's done. And this side looks already on the ground, which is good. Next, we want some kind of ground or fence, actually. With some kind of railing. I like to use these railings. This one is from, again, the same place where I got the stairs. So it is a certain file. It'll most likely come out when assets release in the game. but right now they're just files in a specific Discord that I've been rummaging through inside of the City Skylines Discord. Just gonna place a bunch of these fences down one by one. I would use the line tool, but it is a little bit weird to use the line tool with this one, just because it doesn't really meet equally what I want. But placing it piece by piece, it's rather, you could think of it as therapeutic, but it does take some time and patience if you're steady with hand. But again, you're detailing, so detailing takes time in general. Let's see over here. Let's twist this way. And I don't have a way to bring this over here, but what I could do is click it and just move it and pull it in. Same here. Click it, just move it and drag it back in. All the way across into here. Oops, I might want to overwrap. Just move it to drag these back. Drag this back. Twist it this way. So with you, take you and twist you backwards. So that's my fence going across. And now I'm just going to do the same thing to the other side. So, be right back. Okay. Now that this portion is done, I believe I want to start making a road across here. I know I said I wouldn't do it. I'll make a little prototype one, just so I can see if people will eventually take the path up here. So, I'm going to make a little path. I'm going to remove these extra staircases that I don't need. Place a small little path to get up here. And just let's put it back. Just give it a touch. Let's take this portion over here, down here. So now we're going to work on the pathing. So the pathing scenario, we're going to use the invisible paths and just place a series of little nodes. So what we want to do is first decrease the height and make this ramp up to the height that you have this elevation set at. I'm not sure what I have this elevated at, but this height seems to be the most appropriate. So we're going to cut across here, go straight across the end, and then come back down right about here. And just like that, this works as an access for pedestrians to access the area. So we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. Gonna use the angle tool and place this straight down. Now, right there. Same thing for this side, up here, all the way across, vertically down. Lastly, up across, and cut across right down here. And just like that, pedestrians now have access to walk up the stairs, up and down the stairs. The same thing for the other side will have to be done. So from here, cut across, go up to 18 feet, 18.75, cut across, we're going all the way to the end this time, and then cut down. Now I'm not going to put a road here on this side yet. I think I'll save this side for stream. Gonna cut across over here and come down. Let's go up to 3 feet, just so we can get a nice little slope. Or actually, this spot isn't really as smooth as the roads. We're gonna put this one step back and then come down. I wonder if the slope tool does allow for better ease, but it doesn't seem like it's going to turn this off. Straight across, right down there. Same thing here. Put up here. Let's cut across. Let's turn off snapping. And set this to 18 feet. Cut across. And then go down to 3 feet. Also, I removed the back stairs on this area just because of the clearance. There's not enough space back here to walk, so I just removed it. Lastly, let me fix this as well. It's a little bit too far back. Let's pull these up. Okay. And just like that, we have pedestrian access, which is perfect. Lastly, it's just decorating the entire station. However, this part is really circumstantial. It depends on how you want to build it. I usually just build it with a bunch of plants, some chairs, and a little guardrail, just to play it safe. That's mostly how I build stations. But in terms of outside, so let's go through it here. Using a few little assets we have here, we're gonna use the high industrial fence. Because it's a solid fence, it's like almost a privacy little fence as well. So it protects the area, prevents the nice little wall. An industrial fence wouldn't be bad here either, but there's only so much you could do with an industrial fence. There's different scenarios that would be nicely used. And also with this fence, you could also place a wall at the edge to give it like a nice little screen where people aren't allowed to access. Just like that. Some little walls where pedestrians can't cut across. Do the same thing on both sides. This side, let's do this manually. From here to here. Let's get this one to snap from here to here. Yeah, just like that. Lastly, some planter boxes. I set the snapping on so it doesn't move from this location if I try to move it, so it sticks. So planter box, planter box, planter box, planter box. In many different areas. Place one more in the back. The staircase, the seats you can find also in here. They also snap. Honestly, it's the best thing to do is to keep the snapping on. I will, however, change the color of these props. I don't really like the blue chair, so let's go through here. I have the asset changer color mod, so you can toggle through the colors, the different colors that these chairs have to offer. As well as having little seated coverings as well, just to give it a little privacy. Some garbage cans. And some protective covers. Now, I don't really have any protective covers. I'd have to find them through different assets or and whatnot, but I will use these little gazebos or pergolas. Gazebos, what did I say that for? Little pergolas in the area just to cover these. Cover the chairs. Make it act like some kind of shelter, but it's not really a shelter, but make it pretend it is. This one does not need one. And also a chair under here wouldn't be bad, but it's the edge, so it's probably fine. And you can plant trees in here. You don't have to, but trees just give areas a lot more color, a lot more light. I tend to use birch and turn off snapping with this one and make sure the birch is tall enough so it exceeds the height of everything else. You can use shorter trees, you just have to use move it to bring it up. So I probably will use move it in the trees in the center platform for like smaller trees like a linden. In this case, let's see here, linden. We're gonna keep it on, we're gonna keep the snapping. So click these two. Because these trees add different color, especially in fall. You can see this tree is red in the fall. The birch is in fact yellow. Oops. So, using move it, we can then bring the tree down so it doesn't look like it's sticking through. We could just sink it in. And just like that, we have a nice little station. Nice little colored station. And look at that. We have a person walking up the stairs, almost imitating the likeness of taking the train. Let's see where they continue to go. So they'll go back here and take this platform. And just like that, they will walk through the props, but that's okay. Just like that, we have a working station. It's fairly functional. It's a simple process, but well, not simple. It's time consuming. It's a time consuming process, but it works pretty well. With that being said, with the most other stations as well, I will look for other props to use for a shelter for different stations. But that'll come at a different time, probably or most likely when assets do release in the game. You know, these people coming outside the train, going back home. This game is great for those little details, these little prop details. Sometimes the railings will disappear. That is a thing that does happen with these staircases. I'm not sure why, but sometimes they do, or some stairs, depending on what you use, will have railings. Others will not. But yes, that's the main gist of how to get a custom station to be working. And just look at that. They're already using it. They're walking down here because up here will be kind of pointless when down here is a little quicker. Yes. That is and will be the end of today's little lesson. Thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate that. You can catch me on Twitch Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I will most likely be streaming City Skylines on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday. Saturday is a different kind of game day, and Sunday I mostly play Plate Up. But yeah, you can catch me on those days. With that being said, take care, everybody. I will see you guys again next week.